In a small town wrapped in fog and silence, there stood a house that carried memories more than furniture. It was a house where the air still smelled of prayer, and the walls remembered every whisper of love. Inside that home lived a woman named Maria. She was 46 years old. Her hair carried silver strands like threads of wisdom. Her face was soft with lines of love, not age. Her eyes had the calmness of dawn and the pain of every night she had lived alone. Yet never lonely, because her heart was always full of the people she loved. Every morning, before the sun even thought of rising, Maria would wake up, tie her shawl around her shoulders, and walk toward the small wooden altar near her bed. She would light a candle, whisper a prayer, and say, "Dear God, keep my children safe wherever they are." She would say this every single day with the same faith, with the same tears that never needed to fall. She had learned to speak to God more than anyone else, because when life becomes quiet, God becomes your conversation. Her son Daniel had gone far away to build his own life. He was busy with the noise of the city, deadlines, friends, promises, and dreams. He often forgot how the silence of home sounded. But Maria never complained. She never told him how much she missed him. She simply smiled when the phone rang and said, "I'm fine, my love. I cooked your favorite dish today. Maybe I'll freeze some for when you visit." He would laugh and say, "Sure, Ma, I'll come soon." But soon never really comes for children who are chasing the world. Every evening, Maria would sit by the window, her fingers tracing the wooden frame, watching the road that led out of town. She would imagine his car turning into the driveway. She would imagine the sounds of his footsteps again, the hug that made her whole. She missed the weight of his head on her shoulder when he was small. She missed hearing him say, "Ma, I can't sleep." She missed his mess, his laughter, his questions that never ended. But she never said it aloud. She only whispered it into her prayers, because mothers never stop hoping, even when hope hurts. The winters were colder now, the nights longer. Her hands often shook when she poured tea, yet she always made an extra cup, one for herself, one for memory. She would set it on the opposite side of the table and smile softly, as if Daniel was sitting there. She would say, "How was your day, my love?" And then answer herself, "I'm proud of you. You're doing well." Even if he could not hear her, she believed love travels through air like a secret prayer. One night, the wind was wild, the rain fierce, but Maria sat by the lamp, knitting a scarf. She hummed an old lullaby she used to sing when Daniel was little. The sound of it filled the room with something more than music. It was love turned into sound. She looked at the empty chair beside her and whispered, "Sometimes I wish time would return, just for a moment, so I could hold you again, without the fear of letting go." In the city, Daniel was sitting in his apartment, tired from work. His eyes fell on an old photo on the table. It was him as a child, with Maria holding him, laughing. He suddenly felt a pull in his heart, something heavy yet gentle. He couldn't explain it. He tried to ignore it, but the feeling grew stronger, like someone calling his name from far away. He grabbed his keys, stepped into the night, and began to drive without knowing why, just knowing he had to go home. Back in that little town, the rain had stopped. Maria lit another candle. She was weaker now, but her faith was the same. She looked up at the old clock on the wall. It ticked softly, reminding her that every second is a gift. She whispered, "God, I've done my part. Let my children always walk in light." Then she closed her eyes and smiled, her hands resting on the prayer beads. Hours later, Daniel's car stopped in front of the house. He rushed inside, his shoes wet, his heart pounding. "Ma," he called out. The house answered only with silence. Then he saw her sitting by the lamp, her eyes closed, her lips curved in peace. He knelt beside her, took her hands. They were cold, yet still warm with love. He whispered, "I'm here, Ma. I came back." She didn't answer, but the candle flame flickered as if to say she heard. He sat there until morning, the first light entering through the window, touching her face gently. She looked like she was sleeping, smiling at a dream she had waited all her life to see. Daniel held her hand, and for the first time he prayed the way she did. He said, "Thank you, God, for giving me a mother whose love was larger than life." Years passed, Daniel built a family of his own. Sometimes at night, when the world went silent, he would walk to the window, look at the stars, and whisper, "Good night, Ma." And in that silence, he always felt her there, a warmth brushing his heart, a peace wrapping around him like her old shawl. Because a mother never leaves. She becomes everything the world cannot touch: the air, the light, the love that never fades. And every time he saw his own child sleeping, he would kneel, whisper the same prayer she once did: "Dear God, keep them safe." And in that moment, he finally understood that a mother's love never dies. It just changes homes. It moves from her heart into yours and stays forever. Have you ever felt your mother's presence in a moment of silence when you thought you were alone?